is out here, but one of the problems, and this is where it gets frustrating out in the backcountry, is that people grow up riding this type of area where the lines are heavily used and braided, and instead of staying here in the original alignment, they take the braid. And now we're hopping onto a road, quad route. They take the braid, and I understand why, but so when a guy like me starts preaching or teaching responsible use in the backcountry, people that ride these places, that do one trip or a few trips to the backcountry, they have no understanding, no comprehension of the rhetoric of responsible use, because here all they see is braided trails everywhere they go, and they're in a concentrated motorized use area close to town, and so their rationale is there's nothing wrong with braiding a trail, because who's the idiot that would follow the rut? Who's the idiot that would follow the whoops? I get it. I'm 62 years old. I don't want to pound the whoops. I don't want to follow the rut. I want to take the smoothest line, and if I see a smooth line, there's no question about it. I want to go to the smooth line because I want to ride more miles and burn a full tank of gas, and I don't want to grenade myself physically just pounding whoops, which is a contradiction. Well, I don't race anymore. I don't give a rat's tail about going fast anymore. I'm out here to do this. I just suck in the beauty, take a picture, enjoy the day, smell the fresh air. Think about all you guys that are at home watching football on the couch while I'm out here, appreciating God's creation. What I'm trying to say, though, is when a guy, his experiences, the different multiple or single use areas where it's basically a motorized use area and the hikers are rarely seen. The things close to town, easy to get to, the Gormans, the Hollister Hills, the Metcalfs, the little gyms, the Danskins, Blacks Creek area, Carnegie, Hollister Hills. Anyways, the user experience is all about bladed trails like this right here. This is a bladed 50-inch route, yet in a dumbed down trail system, this could be designated as a single track. Now here this is designated 50-inch, but if this is at your home area, a route like this is what is considered an intermediate single track on your map. You come to a backcountry remote trail system with real single track, you're out of it. You have no idea, because this is what you would consider a hard trail or an intermediate trail at your home riding area. Okay. By the way, many people would consider this a switchback. This is not a switchback. This is a round climbing turn. Okay. And so a guy that's only used to rounded turns, round climbing turns, tractor trails, he comes to the backcountry, he sees nothing wrong with cutting a switchback and turning it into a round climbing turn, as opposed to learning the skills required to execute a switchback. And so when a guy like me talks about responsible use, he's just flipping out, because he sees this in his mind, what I just executed right there, that I can ride around with both feet on the pegs. He sees that as a switchback, and so his brain doesn't see a real backcountry single track on a side slope. His brain, whenever the word switchback is mentioned, comes up with what we just executed back there. And got to be careful because there's ice. And yes, it's warming up and melting, but this is like super treacherous. And I'm always careful because it can be melting and softer. But you get into a cold spot or a shady spot and the ice can still be there, and good grief, you can go down quick. And I don't like crashing anymore because I'm too old to crash. So I do whatever I can to avoid crashing. My point, or my rhetoric, or whatever you want to call it, is that it's really hard to teach responsible use to people who are completely ignorant to what backcountry trail riding is. Because to them, they're in the backcountry at a place like this. No, they're in a place to learn. This is a learner's area where it's not an area to learn backcountry riding at all. It's a place where people who are too lazy to ride with a chainsaw and put in the work come. That is required to be a backcountry rider, a responsible backcountry rider. If you ride like here, there's very few trails need a chainsaw. You cut it once in the spring and it's good to go for the whole season. Again, we're going through where it's melting and then where it's ice and the soil is slick, so we're being ridiculously careful. There's another one of those user-created single tracks. Okay, so that's where the good stuff is, right there. And the trail rider is going to be completely bored out of his mind, as I am. He's going to jump on that single track to go down to the bottom. But the legal route is forcing you to stay upon this 50-inch route, which bores you completely out of your mind riding this kind of stuff. It's also unsafe because the moto guys can go really fast on here, and you're more likely to have head-ons, and head-ons usually result in life flight because you're going way too fast, and then you have the blind corners and stuff. So my motto, another tip, the faster it is, so when I get on a 2-track or a road, the faster I can go, the slower I ride. When I get on a really techy single track, that's when I like to pick the tempo up and pick the pace up. The reason is I can go really fast, and if I miss a blind corner, misjudge it, I can go off the edge. I can find out there's a quad here, or a side-by-side, or a fellow dirt biker also going really fast. So I tend to go slower when I get on these routes that I can really haul the mail. And if you do haul the mail on these things, basically you got to be really, really aware of looking way ahead, and you've got to be aware of when you lose your sight line. And when your sight line goes away, you got to check up, slow down, and roll cautiously. Get off the gas, roll it, and by going off the gas, you can hear the motor. Okay, so when you realize your sight line is going away, then you've got to slow down. Here I can see, I can look around, I can see, so I can keep going. I'm not going fast, but I could go fast. Okay, so like right here, I can look, I can see all the way to the bottom, but I got a corner here that I can't clear as far as whether or not somebody's coming up, so I got to check up, right? I let it go to idle, and I observe, and I can look ahead and go, okay, nobody's there, now I can pick up my speed. Okay, so experienced backcountry riders are really familiar with this. Basically, it's a series. It's a series of, you're looking ahead, you're gaining speed where you have a sight line, and then you're checking up when your sight line goes away. That's why I like on routes where I can go a lot faster, I tend to not go for all, go race pace, because, and especially now that I'm old, but even back when I was young, I wanted to be able to race this weekend. I didn't want to get in a head-on and miss the whole series, miss the championship, because I was practicing to go fast on a public trail, and I blew it on a turn and carried way too much speed around a blind turn, and whammo, I'm out. And I can't even compete. Championship gone, because I was so intent on going stupid fast on public trails where people could be coming the other way. So my advice, you know, sure, you can go up tempo, but if you're hitting blind corners and you didn't recognize that you're going to lose your sight line, and you get into a blind spot carrying speed, you're going way too fast. You need to check up, and you need to practice being able to spot those lines. So you need to slow down, and you need to be able to look further ahead and observe the fact that the sight line is going away.